Good morning. It's Joyful Hermit, and you can maybe see behind me I'm making a little progress on gutting out this room. I wasn't able to do much yesterday other than a dump run. I've been having a great deal of pain. It usually starts Friday, Saturday. Today I'll be in bed a great deal, I think. Loads of pain last night after Mass, and went to a new member parish dinner. And I would just like to comment on how hermits' lives unfold in unique and God-directed ways. Of the many books that I have read of hermits of all centuries, and I continue to find more hermit biographies to read of ones that I never knew existed, each life is uniquely guided and unfolds with the basic, very simple parameters that are expressed in the Catechism as to what is the eremitic vocation. So a life of prayer, a life of stricter separation from the world, and a life very dedicated to the Church and to God. There are other aspects. Suffering often, penance, silence and penance is included. And the suffering is not always, or maybe even mostly, of a physical nature, although it can be when one lives out a life that is more strictly separated from the world. And even that stricter separation runs by degrees, and all is directed and allowed or not allowed by God, and thus through bishops and priests, family members, people in our daily encounters. God utilizes all these. And with the priests and bishops, it's more of a formal, heightened guidance because they are with God through holy orders. But other people are with God through other means. So we don't discount any way or manner in which God, utilizing the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ, and we include also the Virgin Mary, our mother and mother of the Church, as part of those who form us and who direct our lives. Anyway, it's a beautiful process. But I was thinking yesterday and even last night how each hermit's life could be a separate volume, a separate biography of how God has formed his or her life. And it's beautiful, very beautiful. I went to the parish dinner, and I even asked the RCIA director if she would like me to be on the RCIA team in the fall. The associate priest, a couple of weeks ago in confession, had suggested and encouraged me to get involved in some group in the parish. His idea was that given my, got to plug in here, given my mystical experience during Mass that could seem rather odd to people who are unaccustomed with mystical occurrences, that it would make me integrated and seem more quote-unquote normal to the other parishioners. So, and I thought, what a great idea. I thought it was very compassionate and wise. So, and he said, oh, ask this woman who sits by me at Mass, she and her family. He had asked them to be my guardian, quote-unquote, during the Saturday evening Mass. And he said, oh, she would have good ideas of groups that maybe she's in or things that she would find meaningful, because he recognized that I would want something meaningful. Well, everyone does, but like I say, we're all in different levels, different places. And so I had asked this Simone, and she was the one that recommended the RCIA to help with that. But last night I knew immediately that the head of the RCIA was resistant to that, to my offer, And I could see even the good reasons in that. There were some practical, such as the distance in which I live from the parish, but I could also sense that just the wisdom of God coming in and God choosing. And I remembered in the other diocese I was in when I was asked by one of the RCIA team leaders to be part of the team. And I was younger then and more naive to the process of God and how He is forming my hermit vocation for me. Through a series of trials and errors, He allows me great freedom, but also checks and balances when He closes doors or opens doors. So in that case, in the other diocese, I had mentioned to Reverend Monsignor, I was so excited. Oh, I've been asked to be on the RCIA team. And even the woman asking me, who was like a co-leader or something, was excited because I'm a convert. So, and then Reverend Monsignor said, oh, does Sister Marilyn know this? And I said, well, I don't know. She was the other leader of the RCIA. And within a day, I had a phone call from the other team leader who had asked me, and she was haltingly speaking and awkwardly de-inviting me. And I knew, I saw the sequence of events, and later on it was confirmed to me that Reverend Monsignor did not at all want me, because he viewed me as someone who other people couldn't relate with. And because of at that time, the mystical occurrence was not happening during Mass. My mystical life was hidden from everyone, except he knew, and the bishop knew. So it's just, you can see how different persons in our lives, different dioceses, different parishes make a difference. Here, these priests in this current parish now are very wanting me to be integrated in with the parish life. And none of them know that I'm a hermit. The two priests know, but it hasn't made much of a difference to them. I mentioned it to them, but it wasn't a bother. It wasn't any point of great esteem either. And last night at the new parish dinner, we were to introduce ourselves, and I had one of the two decent pair of slacks that I have. I have no closets here. Everything has been packed up for over a year, so it's pretty much the same clothes that I have for church each time I go to church, and the work clothes that I have to wear here, of which some are wearing out because I'm working so hard in manual labor. So no one knows I'm a hermit. It doesn't matter. And no one knows there's anything different about me other than obviously people have seen me during Mass in the mystical state. So anyway, with just some thoughts that I've had this morning of how marvelous it is that God chooses for us. And no matter if we're in a married vocation, single lay state, hermit, priest, priests and bishops are people too, and God and the Holy Spirit and Jesus and Mother Mary are constantly guiding and directing their lives as well, their everyday lives, their human lives, as well as their vocational lives. So it's been a interesting time last night and this morning with great pain, and another email from a young woman who is dealing with her time, this time between Ascension Thursday and the church feast in our country being Ascension Sunday and Pentecost. So I am taking each day to pray about and ask for increased graces, increased abundance of the sevenfold gifts of the Holy Spirit. Today I'm focusing on wisdom, and I'm encouraging those who are in contact with me, which are very few, but also in my online writing and this video, to encourage anyone who happens to be noticing these to take this time period to ask the Holy Spirit to um, enlighten us as to what in our souls is of hindrance and needs to be cleared out. My cousin mentioned a marvelous metaphor when I was explaining these matters to her. She's Protestant and didn't know anything about the sevenfold gifts of the Holy Spirit, was not really consciously aware of Ascension Thursday and Pentecost. She'd, of course, heard of those in her Protestant life. They're not feast days that are much examined in a deep way, at least in the churches that we were in, that I have been in, or the church she is in, the mainline church that she is in. So it was sort of new to her, and the sevenfold gifts are taken from Isaiah, and the Catholic Church has theologically explained them more and worked them out as being what we are given at baptism and further heightened in our confirmation, which are sacraments in the Catholic Church. So she said, oh, it's sort of like a computer. She said, the computer can get so much in it that uses up, she said, whatever it's called, gigabytes or memory or something like that. And I said, well, I don't know either. It's one of those things, but we get the concept. And she says, and then, it can get filled or cluttered or jammed, and it has things need to be deleted or files emptied or something like that. Or I said, well, yes, and we can even add on more memory, I think, or gigabytes, whatever. And I said, yes, it's such a marvelous metaphor for explaining this. So we need to do some deleting and clearing out and pray for more space, and that our soul, which is really infinite, when we think of it, that the Holy Spirit, but it's us clogging it with earthly hassles or nitpicking or getting slightly off track and having very human, very real things start clogging. We can even use the heart and calcium deposits and cholesterol clogging and our arteries becoming jammed, and we need stents to open them up. Or bypass surgeries, or the heart creates bypasses around what's clogged. It's all great metaphors for our soul. So I encourage all of us to take this time period in particular to when they're great feasts and great realities. It wasn't just that Pentecost was 2014 years ago. It's being relived and like spiritual DNA for us, actually every day, but especially heightened on these feast days of the church. And I love it that the Lord has allowed me encounters with my Protestant friends and family to share and explain without threatening their belief base. Although my cousin says, is that something Catholic? And I'm able to point out the scriptures and in the Bible, because they have fear of me as a Catholic, because they fear the Catholic Church, much as I did from my anti-Catholic upbringing. So it's very good to be able to explain these things, and then also to be given such great metaphors from them when they catch on. And so the computer metaphor is a good one for the work we need to be doing in these 8 days that we have before Pentecost, a week from today. God bless His real presence in you.